Hello everyone, my name is Saul and welcome back to Games by Saul. Today in the Game Dev Diary we are carrying on with Chrono Consort, my newest 2D pixel art game. Before we get into today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below. It really helps YouTube notice my videos and get them out there. And after the response to the last devlog, I just want to say thank you everyone so much. It was one of the best performing videos in the shortest amount of time frame, so thank you everyone for that. So in this devlog, I am going to be working on, thanks to Mr. Rob Lang's comment, which got me and John thinking, we need to get the most basic core loop in the game. For us, that includes sorting out your guild/guildies, picking a quest, sending a guildie on said quest, watching them perform the quest, them returning with rewards, and then dealing with the outcomes of said quest, because each quest you don't have control of, your guildie does it, and you'll have to hope they do the choices that are the best. In these next 2 weeks, I'm going to be working on getting this core loop into the game and getting some basic tile art into the game, because we're going to be using tile sets to do everything. So we'll catch back up when some of this is done. So after doing a lot of work over the past few days and having to redo who I did 3 times, I've finally got the basic AI set up for the game. I'm using a fantastic asset from GitHub in this called NavMesh Plus, because ordinarily you can't do nav meshes with 2D games. However, this asset changed that completely. It allows you to do nav meshes in a 2D space, which is so useful. If you don't know what a nav mesh is, it's basically an area which AI know they're allowed to walk into, and it's really useful for getting AI to be able to wander around, follow the player. It just looks really natural and you don't have to pre-program any spots. So I added in features for the AI to chase the player, to wander around randomly, which isn't perfect yet because it gets a little bit stuck, and to do patrolling, which is where I have had to put in spots. I've also added in a feature, so if the player talks to the AI and then walks away, it'll end the interaction for them, and then the AI will start walking again. The reason this took me 3 times is just because I'm not very good with GitHub and source control at the moment, and I lost a lot of work because I didn't prefab anything, which is something you should do, prefab everything. After a lot of help from Twitter, thank you to those people who helped me out, I got it all working in a way that I think makes sense. We'll just have to find out. Hopefully it does. My next step now is to do a little bit of management into the game and get a guildie list, so that way you can see how many what guildies you've got in your guild, what their rarity is and what their level is. It's not going to be anything fantastic at the moment. I just literally want a UI panel with text saying guildie name, this, this and this. So that's what we're going to be working on next. So we're back again. I finished the Guildie List add-on, and it was a really simple thing to add actually. It was just basically really ugly UI for now. which gets a reference to every guildie object in the scene. I currently don't actually have like a guildie script, so that will be something I do later on. And probably not this devlog, I'll probably do it when we get more into refining systems. So what it does is it references a guildie and it gets a reference to the object of that guildie because it finds one of the scripts on it. And then it instantiates a new list item, which just shows the guildie's name, their level, and the rarity. And the list has like a vertical scaler thing on it, so basically it will just keep growing as more guildies get added to it. A little bit of fine tuning is needed, however for now, for what it is, it's fine. I also, when I finished it, that was all I had to do, and I was thinking that's not really enough. So I did 2 buttons, one that does a quick inspect of the guildie, it's basically just the same as interacting with it, but you can just see your stats from that bar. And the other is a find button, which I was quite happy with, because if you click on it, it just quickly shows you where the guildie is. I initially just had it so the camera just pans over, but I tested something out. If the guildie's at like 1000 by 1000, which it wouldn't be, I imagine. But basically the further away the guildie is, the longer it takes to get to them. So what happens is the camera's position gets automatically set to the new target, and then it'll just follow it smoothly. And it works really nicely. So the final bit of programming I actually need to do for this devlog, I hope, is to getting like the core questing set up basically. What this entails is basically going to a quest board, interacting with it, picking a quest, there'll just be like one quest I've made up, and then choosing a guildie to send on that quest. You then need to be able to watch the guildie on the quest like a text adventure, and the guildie needs to be able to finish the quest and bring back a reward. Bit of a task, but I think it's actually going to be much easier than I think it is. So it's been a few days now, and I've been working on getting the quest system set up and working nicely. The quest system for the game involved a few steps. One was getting the quest board interaction, so we have a simple object which if you interact with it, you can see the quest board. There was getting one random quest to pop up, which we kind of got, which we'll go into. Different pathways, and different pathways means when the guildies are on a quest, they can make different decisions, and obviously the better decisions they make, the better the chances you'll get a good reward. The ability to watch a guildie on a quest. At the moment all it does is just debugs to the console saying, oh, guildie made this decision, it was a good decision, guildie made this decision, it was a bad decision. And then the final step was to get a reward. Currently we are still deciding on how currency is going to work in the game, if we're going to have like gold or if we're going to have something else. Obviously there will be a money type of system in the game because it's, you know, a management game. However, there are other rewards you can get as well. In this version of the game, one of the rewards you can get if the quest contains a special reward is you can get another guildie. At the moment guildies aren't randomised at all. I had to manually program a name for it and the stats just start at 0. Here's my plan to get the recruitment system a bit better so guildies are more randomised. When making this I used a few new things to me which I've never done before in Unity. I used inheritance. I learnt about interfaces and I used scriptable objects. I used inheritance for the interactable objects. Rather than having like a quest board script and etc, I made an interactable object script. The quest board inherits from the interactable script and it does its own function, so it overrides those ones. Most interactable objects will most likely have a quit button and something to happen when you interact with, so it overrides them and does its own thing. I learned about interfaces because after some discussion on Twitter, inheritance is not always the best method to go for, it just depends what you need it for. Interfaces, however, are pretty good method to go for. And I use scriptable objects as well. I'm making the quest scriptable objects, so at the moment that seems like a good idea. It might not be. We'll see if it is. I honestly do think it will be. Guildies themselves might also have to be scriptable objects. I think that will probably be the way I go with them, but we'll just see how it works. What you'll be seeing on the screen now is the quest decision manager. Now, there's going to be different types of quests, combat quests, sneaking quests, and another one that you'll see is decision quests. Now, seeing as decision quests are probably the easiest for now, I just started with this. I honestly do think these will also either inherit or use interfaces with another like general quest script, but for now we're just sticking to this. So once it knows what guildie it's got, it will assign that as a variable. It knows what quest it's got, it'll do that. If it's a decision quest, which it usually is, it'll do the coroutine. The coroutine will pick a random number of decisions between 1 and 3. It will then do a for loop going through each decision, and it'll take the quest time and divide that by decision. So if the quest is meant to take 1 minute and you have 3 decisions, it'll take 20 seconds per decision. This is all obviously a work in progress, but this is a good starting place. Then there's a chance element. So between a random number between 0 and 100, it will just pick that. And if that number is above 25 or 50, for example, it was a good decision.
and you get 1 positive decision point. If it was not, it was a bad thing. If you have more positive points than half of the amount of decisions made, you were successful. If not, you were not successful. Then on the guildie script, it will say finish quest, and it will take on what the reward level was, if it was successful, and if there was a chance of a special. There's also a reward script, which is quite simple really. It just basically does a switch statement on a different reward levels there are, which is high, medium and low. And it'll give you a different amount of points per that. If you get high, you get 100 points. If you get medium, you get 15. If you get low, you get 25. And then it adds it to the top of the UI. And I'm using player prefs for now just to keep the score being like total. That's why you probably saw before my score was around 500. And that's taken me a few days to do. So the next step and the final thing for the core game loop is I just decided to do some art. I'm going to get some basic artwork in the game, which will just be some basic tiles. And then once they're in the game, I can officially say version 0.01 is done. I'm going to go working on the art now, and we'll catch back up when I'm done. So it's been quite a few hours now since I finished working on the tiles. And it's all done now. We have wooden floor tiles, stone floor tiles, stone wall tiles and some basic border tiles. There's some detail on the stone. Initially I did go for a grey colour, but I watched the video and the person in the video recommended going for like a more purpley or greeny colour if you wanted to go out there a bit, and I love the purple colours, so I went for a purpley stone look. In game it looks pretty good. I might have got the sizes wrong because the pixels per unit doesn't match up to how big the actual tiles are. I don't know. That might be something I need to change in the future, but we'll leave that for now. When I implemented the new tile set with NavMesh Plus, I did realise that the AI was having some issue now. It was an entire issue as well when I changed back. The issue seems to be that it just can't, the patrolling AI especially, just can't seem to get to some points. Well, it's not that it can't get to, it just doesn't. It gets to one point, it's like, I don't know what to do, I'm just going to stay here and not move. I'm going to log that as a bug. I don't know why it's happening. I've asked on the GitHub page for NavMesh Plus, which will be linked down below by the way. You should definitely check out this asset, it's very useful. And hopefully I'll get an answer from there, because I honestly have no idea why it's happening. That ends the devlog for these past 2 weeks. Like I said, I do a bi-weekly schedule, as it just helps me with university work and making sure I'm being efficient with my time. I think we got a lot of stuff done. We have the core gameplay loop. For the next devlog, I'm probably going to be working on the guildies themselves a bit, getting them a bit more randomised. I'm going to talk to John and we're going to work out how we align stats. If it's just going to be completely random between like 1 to 5 and it just assigns that, or if there's another way. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe. Thank you all for watching, and again, thank you so much for the support on the last devlog. It really meant a lot. Remember to like, subscribe and share the devlog and the channel out, it really helps. And comment down below because that also really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you everyone and bye bye.